Okay, for some reason the recording software crashed, so we're kind of starting right in the middle here. I believe where I left off was bringing in a roads layer. So you want to use Tiger roads data from the U.S. Census, just because that's what we do in floodplain connectivity. It's the most extensive roads layer across all the watersheds we work in, so that's what we'll use. And if you remember from that, basically our process is we start editing. I'm already editing it, but we start editing this layer that we need to edit. Select all the roads that may cross any of the valley bottom there. Turn on the layer and go up here to advanced editing and hit split polygons. And the target layer is that layer that we're editing. And then, so I've already done that, so I'm just going to hit cancel. Zoom in here. You can see how the valley bottom has been split up by all those roads. And then you need to do the same thing for railroads. If your watershed has railroads that cross through, same exact process. I've already done that here as well. So now basically what we have is a partial floodplain connectivity layer that will complete the old one to match our updated valley bottom. So you can see if I throw this on top, it's completely extensive now between the two data sets, this orange one and this blue one. So I'll turn those back off, and now it's basically the same process you do on a normal floodplain connectivity layer, and I'll go back over that again, so we'll get started on that. But first we do need an NHD layer to know where the actual stream is going for when we're editing this floodplain connectivity layer. So I'll go back up to box, and you can grab this. I'm just going to grab it from this network update. I'm in the Walla Walla. I'll go into the VBet, and it's one of the inputs, so I'll just grab that network there. Okay, so I downloaded that network and brought it in here. So now we're good to start taking care of this. So I'm just going to double check what my attribute field is called. It's called connected. So we'll go in here. We actually have to be done editing. I'm going to save my edits, open up the attribute table, and now I can actually add a field. We'll call that connected. Short integer is fine. Hit OK. And looking at this, I have way more polygons than I do I have attributes here, so it looks like it's including multiple polygons in one selection here. If it does that, it's always a good thing to check. We'll just multi-part to single part that, and that will take care of those clumped features, and it'll separate them all. Very important to do. That's the erase layer. I'm just going to call it erase 1. Doesn't really matter, like I said, doesn't really matter what you do here because it's not your final product. So now if I get rid of this one and open up this one, you can see I have way more polygons. Alright, so next step is to select by location, and we're selecting features from this erase with the source layer perennial, and we want the ones that intersect it. So these, all the ones that are being selected right now is everything we want coded as a 1 or connected. So if we open up the attribute table, Minimize this down a little bit. I'm going to switch over to just the ones that are selected, and now we're going to start editing again. And it's erase. Okay. So now all these need to be ones. So you simply just go through all those. Okay, so I've gone through and changed all the codes in that connected field. If you need a refresher on any of this stuff too, just go back and watch the floodplain connectivity video I have. So I'm just going to double check and make sure everything that I wanted to happen happened. So I'm just going to change the symbology to that connected, add all values 0 and 1. So 1 connected, looks right, we got the stream flowing through. So now this is the point where you would begin making your edits to this layer. So basically, you know, the stream crossings where you need to disconnect, all that stuff that is covered in the floodplain connectivity video. So once you finish editing this and it's done, it's where it needs to be, that is where you will do the next step, which is we need the two layers merged together so that we have everything in full valley bottom. It may have some extra stuff. Cover that in a minute. This looks like it's extra. This little piece right here doesn't look like it's in our updated valley bottom, so we'll take care of that in a minute. Okay, so next step, we have our edited additional floodplain connectivity and we have our old floodplain connectivity, so we want these together. So what we're going to do, you want it to be named this, but you don't want to override the old one. So I'm going to remove this from the map and go to where it's stored and just rename it as old. And then I'll bring that back in. Oops. Make sure you're done editing on that layer. So I got to stop editing and save my edits. So the next step is to use the merge tool to combine the two data sets. And it's this merge data management. So I'm going to put in this erase one layer. This is that additional edited floodplain connectivity. And I'm going to input the old one. And now I'm going to choose a place to save it, wherever you're saving the stuff for this. And now, since I renamed this one old, I can just name it to what we want it to be named for input into RCA. Save that. Hit OK. It's going to merge those data sets together. And now we'll just double check it. And it looks like we have that new, I'll put this on top so you can see. So you can see it merged in these new sections. And if everything happened correctly, they will have kept their split up polygons, and they'll have kept their coding. So I'm going to symbolize this real quick just to double check that by connected. Add all values 0 and 1. So now if I turn on this layer, they should, and it appears as if it did work. Everything that was coded as disconnected or connected followed through in the merge. So now we don't need this anymore, and and we have this updated floodplain connectivity layer that matches our new updated valley bottom. So this is exactly what we're after. Last quick thing that I want to do though, I'm just gonna make this one color just to make things easy to look at. And then I'm going to pull up my valley bottom. I'm going to make that a different color. Just a solid color. So if I have both those layers on, I'm looking for anywhere. So right now I have the floodplain connectivity layer on top of the valley bottom, and you can tell since there's no blue peeking out, that we have everything included. But I also want to check if it's overextensive too, so I'll swap those layers. And you can see that there is some extra stuff. So we just want these to match for consistency. So what I'll do is just erase the I'll just do another erase using the floodplain connectivity that we just created as the target layer and the valley bottom as the input. So it will basically clip, or we can even clip. We can clip the floodplain connectivity to the valley bottom. And the reason why we're doing that here is I made some changes to the valley bottom. Maybe things are a little different now. If I turn on this NHD layer, you can tell there's no NHD for this segment, so we don't need to have that. We don't want it. And as I was making the valley bottom update, there are just some other things that I noticed that I edited, so we're just going to clip the floodplain connectivity down to whatever the valley bottom is now. So I'll just search for a clip. Analysis. So we're going to input the floodplain connectivity. We're going to clip it by the valley bottom. And then, since I didn't foresee that step coming, I'm just going to call this one new. We'll go back and rename it in a minute. We'll run that clip on it. Alright, so that clip ran. So here's the one that I just clipped. If I turn that off, we have this new one that just got clipped down to the valley bottom extent. You can see that now there's nothing peeking out from the valley bottom in the valley bottom, and then there's nothing peeking out from the floodplain connectivity. So now these two layers are concurrent. They match up perfectly. So that's basically it. Like I said, since I didn't foresee that, I'm just going to go in here, and I don't need this layer anymore. So I'm just going to get rid of it. Oh, it's still open in here. I'm just going to get rid of that. Okay, it doesn't want to. I'll rename it then. I'll just make it old 2. It really does not like that. Alright, anyways, you just rename this so that you can name this one what this one's named. We want this new one to not have the new, we want it to look like that. So just delete this one or change the name so that you can change that one's name to the proper thing. But yeah, so just symbolize this real quick one last time. So now we'll have a fully updated matching the network floodplain connectivity that matches the valley bottom that we can run RCA on. If you have any questions about this process or get confused about anything, just let me know. There's some of those little minor details like multi-part to single part. Sometimes you get editing and you start changing things and if it, like I said, if it includes other polygons and you're just trying to change this one, it changes this one as well. You got to catch those things and make sure that you take care of that, or else you're just gonna be wasting your time. So I think that should do it on this. We got to do it for all the watersheds. Or at least all the watersheds that say we need it updated on box. I'll go up there, or on the spreadsheet real quick. I'll go to that shortly here and show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, so basically anything that doesn't have an X is a watershed that needs updated. So we have quite a bit to do, and then once we have them updated, we can go ahead and run RCA on them. When you have that floodplain connectivity layer finished, you can upload it into our new directory. So Analyst Tools Network Update RCAT 1.0.7. We were on the Walla Walla. You can just throw it without a folder. For now, we'll just throw it in here, and then once we run RCA, it obviously will be included in the RCA project folder. So that's it for that. Hopefully it makes sense for everyone and we can get this stuff hammered out.